Hi, folks. I think it's time for another honest conversation. Brutally honest conversation. Most honest conversations ask a very challenging question or set of questions that make you feel slightly, or to be honest, very uncomfortable. I think this is going to be one such conversation. And the question I'm asking today is why is Israel losing the PR war and Qatar and others who are pro Hamas actually winning the PR war? And I want to explain this in a professional and academic sense to explain how influence operations work. For any influence campaign or influence operation where you want to influence an audience or a group of people or a politician or anyone else, there are two sides to this. One, the pull factors. Pull factors is, as the name suggests, is essentially how you pull someone towards you, towards supporting you, towards aligning with your interests, with your narrative, with your objectives. And pull factors on generally include, especially on the Middle East, pull factors include one, money, two, fame, and three, protection. So if we go through these, it's going to make a lot of sense actually. One, money. If you align with me, if you embrace my narrative, I'm going to invest in your work and I'm going to invest in your business, I'm going to invest in your media appearances, I'm going to invest in whatever it is. The second one is fame. If you align your work and your narrative with my interests, I'm going to give you fame. So I'm going to give you media appearances. I'm going to give you the ability and obviously invite you to write for publications, to go on TV, and give you the connections to do so. And the third and last pull factor, which is actually the most important one in the context of the conflict in the Middle East, is protection. Now, this is really key. Protection essentially is protection against lawfare. What if someone sues me? What if I embrace Israel's narrative and someone sues me? Or someone takes me, to the ICC, or someone, sues my business, or someone, launches some sort of lawsuit against my family, against someone I love, against whatever it is. Because on the other side, whichever side you're on the other side, there is always a group of people and organizations who are actually trying actively and very hard to target you in any way they can. So protection plays a really key part. Now, if we go to the push factors are, as the name suggests, the reasons or elements why someone decides, I will not side with you. I will not align my work and my values and my narrative with your interests and narrative. And the push factors are very clear. Attacks. What if someone attacks me? What if someone attacks me physically? What if someone attacks me, publicly? What if someone attacks me in the media? What if someone attacks my family in different ways? And this is actually really, really challenging because the attacks almost always end up with a huge reputational risk. So you find yourself struggling with, finding work, finding whatever. It's really, really challenging. And it's a part that I personally have experienced for siding with Israel and siding with my people, the Jewish people. And it really leaves you, it's quite dreadful. It really leaves you with many sleepless nights. Because it's not only you that they attack, they also go after your family, they also go after your loved ones, and they do it in the most brutal and the most immoral way. Now, the second point is job losses or business losses. There is something that the other side, the pro Hamas side, has that Israel does not have. It's the boycott campaigns. It's the campaigns of targeting Jewish businesses. It's the campaigns of targeting people who even do business with the state of Israel, people who even do business with Jews. And that is also another key factor in the push factors that decide why someone would choose not to align with the narrative of Israel, the narrative of the Jewish people, or the interests, or even, do the right thing and at least stand against anti Semitism. There are two more factors left. Shame and exclusion. Shame and exclusion is something that the pro Hamas side uses very effectively. So if you are defending Israel's right to defend itself, if you are defending the Jewish people's right to live in peace and dignity across the West, you will find yourself subject to attacks and campaigns that are designed to shame you and exclude you. We see this on campus. We see this in every single way, really. I have seen this and I've experienced this in the most, I would probably say, the most hurtful way. You find your own family, members of your own family, just deciding to shame you, deciding to exclude you, deciding, to say we want nothing to do with this guy again. We won't have nothing to do with this guy ever again. And that is really challenging because this has a very personal side to it. You find yourself losing family, you find yourself losing friends, and that really takes its toll on you. Any human being experiencing this will experience at a different stage of their life doubts, questions. Should I just stop what I'm doing? Should I just completely go into hiding? We've seen this. We've seen this by many people in many cases. I suppose I'm too stubborn to do this, but some others just decide it's enough. Enough is enough. I can't take this anymore. And now we come to the last push factor when it comes to this, which is being outnumbered. Sadly, the Jewish people, almost 15 million globally, are hugely outnumbered. We have Islamists in the West, we have far left, we have far right, we have people who are the silent majority who are not willing to get involved in this fight at all. So you end up finding yourself truly outnumbered, hugely outnumbered, and that is a serious challenge. And it's something that we sadly cannot do anything about. So if we go again and discuss this, the pull factors include money, fame, and protection. I'm going to give you money, I'm going to give you fame, and I'm going to give you protection. And I want you now to think as the state of Qatar, for example. They have the money, they can give you fame. They've got Al Jazeera, which is one of the most popular platforms on earth, and they can give you protection in case anyone comes after you. The push factors, the attacks, the business and job losses, the shame and exclusion, and being outnumbered. Again, if you think like the state of Qatar, they do have complete control over push factors that they can weaponize against people that they think are working against their interests. Now, here's a really serious challenge. I believe that the state of Israel acts as a student who decides to blame the test, not actually look at how hard they've studied for their own failures. We've all had this, going to university, going to school. You have always this friend who comes out of every test and says, "Oh, the test was too hard. This is why I failed. It's too hard. I can't really do anything about this. It's unfair. It's blah blah blah." But they never ask themselves, have we studied hard enough? I can tell you from experience, as someone who has been fighting for the state of Israel since at least 2011, that this is the existential threat Israel faces. Israel, unlike the state of Qatar, does not have an organized campaign. Israel does not work with its allies. Israel does not invest in its allies. And this is the key challenge. Israel has no pull factors, sadly. If you side with the state of Israel, you're always going to find yourself, sort of celebrated by people who are Zionists, people who are, siding with the state of Israel, and they will say, "Oh, this is great work, this is a righteous cause, and it makes perfect sense to fight for a righteous cause." So Israel's approach to this is, it makes sense not to lie. It makes sense not to slander someone. It makes sense not to be anti-Semitic. Qatar's approach to this is purely from a business commercial factor. You will side with me because I will invest in you. They don't tell you, oh, what is righteous, what is good, what is moral, what is wrong. They don't get into that stuff because they understand that eventually people will always side with those who invest in them. people will always side with those who protect them. People will always side with those who are good for them, their business, and their families. Unless you are dogmatic, unless you believe in right or wrong, as I do, I believe in right or wrong. I believe that anti Semitism is horrific. Besides putting aside my faith as a Jew, this is irrelevant. I always believed that it's right that the state of Israel, even before converting to Judaism, that the state of Israel has the right to exist. It has the right to fight terrorist groups like Hamas. And I said this publicly from Cairo in 2014, for example, when there was, again, an escalation between Israel and Hamas. But many others are not like me. The overwhelming majority of people, this is not to say I'm special, but I'm just talking about facts here. The overwhelming majority of people will not choose to harm themselves, to harm their families, and their interests and their businesses because they want to speak the truth. Most people will do what is right for them financially, what is right for their businesses, what is also safe for them and for their families. You will never get hounded or attacked on the streets of London because you are siding with the Palestinians or because you're even siding with Qatar. No one will attack you. No one will accuse you of genocide. So it's an easy choice to make. It's a really easy choice to make. And this is what Israel does not seem to understand. We do not have a united front in fighting for Israel, fighting against anti-Semitism. We don't. And we expect people to do the right thing. But people will not always do the right thing, morally speaking. They will do, again, and I repeat this, they will do what is good for them financially and what is safe for them and their families. We have to change our approach. If we don't, we're going to keep losing. We are now fighting the far left, we're fighting the far right, we're fighting the Democrats, we're fighting a great deal of Republicans today. And I do fear that in America, this is going to get a lot worse. We need to have a plan. We need to have a strategy. We need to have a unified front. Even if you don't have a unified front, at least the state of Israel having a focused strategy that rewards allies, that works with allies, and confronts enemies in a strategic, efficient way, that will mean that we have a far greater chance of winning this war. But if we decide not to even fight this war and expect people to do the right thing, morally speaking, we're going to continue losing. And it makes sense that people of influence across the US, across Europe, across the planet essentially, across the world, will side with those who are good for them financially and those who offer them safety from attacks, from lawfare, from everything else that comes along with fighting for the state of Israel. I really do hope that this message will come across. And I'm asking you to please share this message with as many people as you can. This is a moment of facing an existential threat. And this moment increases, and this threat is growing day by day. Thank you very much.